Hello and welcome to Dean Street Stories. This is our series where we talk to the artists, producers, creators behind some of the incredible records that you've heard and the next voices that are coming out. So this is where we'll really get into the stories behind the music, the inspiration behind what made them, and also the journeys that people have taken to get where they are today. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today we are here with the fantastic guys from Guilt Free. Well, two of the fantastic guys from Guilt Free. We've got Chris and Jon, and they're going to tell us a little bit about what they do. So if you don't mind kicking things off, for the people that don't know, who are Guilt Free and kind of what is it that you kind of get into?
So we are a sound studio. We're based at Dean Street. We used to be based in here. We predominantly do sound and music for TV, film, cinema, things like that, radio. Day-to-day voiceovers, music composition, sound design. Yeah, I mean, kind of everything really, from receiving a brief all the way through to delivering to the stations. So yeah, the whole process.
We like to tell people that we're like a one-stop shop for audio, basically, for posts. So anything with moving image, but also radio as well. Yeah.
So Stu's not here. Stu's Jon's cousin, actually. And Stu and I met at another studio before here. We were doing predominantly stuff for like Pixar, Disney, lots of big sort of filmy stuff. So yeah, we had sort of 5 years at this studio, and we just got really close. We started writing music together for just for fun at first. Then it became sort of professional. We'd be writing for clients and stuff like that. And the natural ebb and flow would be to set up Guilt Free.
Cool. And so you guys do kind of the whole journey, so writing all the way through to kind of production and post-production.
Yeah.
Wow.
All of it.
Oh my God. So how does that kind of all fit together? Because a lot of the time that's split. So I'm really interested to see how that it's different when the journey's kind of all carried out by yourselves.
On a kind of sort of basic level, if Stu is composing something and Jon and I are adding extra sounds to that in another room, then we need to know that nothing's going to clash. We need to know that, certainly like if it's tonal, then we don't want things to clash key-wise. We don't want things to fight for space. We want things to have a natural rhythm, all these sort of stuff. And if it's not getting done in the same house, then, it's an extra battle, if you like, because we have control over the composition, but we also have control over everything else that goes in afterwards. If you don't have control over all of those elements, then, things happen. Things, won't evolve in the same kind of way.
I think it's always like people that we work with always really appreciate having a one-stop shop where they come to us and they can get all elements of the audio done. They can get the voiceover recorded. They can get the sound design done, and they can get the music as well. And also those two sides to the business often feed into each other, where someone will come to us just for music and they'll go, oh, I can do the sound design here as well.
Yeah, it's
and
convenient.
vice versa. So yeah, I think people appreciate that, and also obviously Dean Street themselves do commercial music, and people come here just to do the recording or just to do the mixing, or and often in commercial music it's more split. But when we most of our clients are sort of advertising or content or TV or whatever, and so the business model's different, and people sort of they just want to come and get all the sound done in one place, and that's kind of what we've developed to provide, really.
So I think when people kind of look at a studio or look at like the music industry, they've got this very like narrow idea of what they think it is, which is that kind of the commercial side of artists, songs, radio play, that kind of side. And I think it's the other side of things, where it is the kind of the TV score, the advertising. It is such a huge side of the music industry that I think we get to see less of, but we consume almost more of it because you're affected by it every day.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting to kind of, what drew you to kind of this side of it more than the other side?
I was fresh out of sound engineering college. I sent 100 CVs out. This is before the internet. 100 just because then I could work out the percentage of replies. I got 3 replies, 2 job interviews, W in the alphabet, so it was quite late on as well. But that was a place called Wise Buddha. I went there thinking it was like a music studio. I thought everything was music studio. I had no idea this industry existed. Went there, went in, got interviewed by Mark Goodyear, who at the time had been presenting the chart show on Radio 1 for 11 years, so he was like the most famous radio DJ out there. I didn't recognise him because he's on radio. They asked me about radio. I thought that was a bit weird because I thought I was looking for a music job and that was why I was there. So I just told them the truth, which was when I go clubbing, I quite like it when like a pirate station nicks the Radio 1's broad space. And they just looked at me and went, "You do know that we produce most of Radio 1 shows here?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And that was it. Got a job there. Don't know why, but they gave me a job, and that was it.
So it'd be kind of great if you don't mind sharing a few of the projects that you've worked on that you're allowed to talk about.
Well, I mean, I think like the stuff that we're sort of most proud of more recently has been the cinema stuff that we've done, because we kind of traditionally over the years haven't always done a lot of cinema stuff, but we've had a client for very many years who does all Kia and Hyundai's TV ads, and then they sort of moved on to doing cinema spots. So we've mixed the last, I don't know, half dozen,
4 years stuff now,
cinema ads for Kia that have gone in the cinema. I've been mixed in Dolby Atmos. So certainly from a sort of creative and technical point of view, I think that's kind of where we've really gotten to show the best of what we can do at the highest level.
Yeah,
really.
I suppose. Yeah, technical is the right word. Our biggest client is at the minute in terms of like renewal of music that we do is Admiral, which is for an agency called McCann in Bristol, and we created their like sound mnemonic, their sonic brand or whatever you want to call it, in 2019, and that's still running now. And they kind of refresh that, and they refresh the campaigns sort of 4 or 5 times a year. So
yeah, we do a lot of Sky's sort of bumpers and stuff. So we've did
all the Paris Olympic stuff with them.
Yeah,
kind of cool.
We did the sort of sponsorship bumpers for Barclays Women's Super League.
That was with Ian Wright, which is good old Ian Wright. He's an Arsenal fan as well.
I'm an Arsenal fan, so
he wore his Arsenal flipping JVC, like the one that Ian Wright played in. He wore it, and like I was like, yeah. I mean, I would have done the same if it was an Ipswich. If it was Alan Brazil coming in, it was Ipswich Town. I'd be the same. I'd be wearing Pioneer, beautiful.
I knew I was going to get the piss ripped out of me for it, but I
sort of respect you for it, to be honest.
Ian
Wright barely noticed, to be fair. He said nice shirt.
All he did was walked in. He went, "Oh, nice shirt, mate," and I went, "Yeah, great, got it."
It took him months to find that on eBay.
No.
Well, we had that one, didn't we? For so the EA Sports rebranding.
Yeah.
That was like so big for us, so big for everybody involved in that.
Such an iconic thing, the EA Sports logo. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know what it is? Like, so when you any PlayStation game or any
EA Sports.
EA Sports game. So any sports game for EA will have EA Sports. It's in the game. So we got tasked. That's been around since like the mid '80s, isn't it? Right. And so we got tasked with rebranding that. And the first thing we did is like go, well, you can't rebrand that. We're not doing it. I don't want anything to do with it, sort of thing. But it was one of them where they were given. I mean, what a job this agency got.
Yeah.
Who are no longer around actually, but it was the Mill they were called back in the day. They were owned by Technicolor, and they tasked us with it. And
I was going to mention that earlier actually, because it was one of my like favourite ones where they really said, you guys just throw some ideas at
just
us,
go at it.
and considering it's 3 seconds long, we were just, and this was right at the height of COVID actually, so we were all at home, working on our home setups. And just fiddling, just trying things out, resampling the voice.
I mean, actually, I'd like to revisit that.
Yeah. I mean, we came up with. I mean, I remember seeing the folder, and it was like 120 options of just EA Sports in the game, or replacing the voice with.
Well, they wanted it replacing.
They wanted
that
it
was it.
Yeah.
So originally they wanted it replacing, and they were like, "How do you replace it with it still saying it?" And you're like, that's never going to happen. Like, get him to say it.
No. I mean, I think we kind of got there. We because everyone knows the rhythm of how he says that. It's like
it's almost like memeable.
It's in the game.
Yeah.
So we were basically taking the rhythm of that and trying to come up with, okay, is it an 808 bass? Is it a kick? Is it a drum fill or something?
With
and
all the sort of correct cadence and tonality and stuff to sort of work.
Yeah,
it was that, wasn't it? And it actually went with something that we got, but to accompany this guy's voice in the end, and it went on one of their games. But it was like a creative sort of exploration to see whether they could replace it, and I think that they all just agreed that it would be a silly idea to replace it. But we did our sort of best idea really was. It was a kind of natural kit, and it was just a drum fill that went EA Sports, so it just sort of followed it all, and it all worked quite nicely. But it actually just sat with the VO really, really well. But they made the right decision. You cannot replace that, and they would be stupid to. And it's
so iconic, and that was one where we were given license to like really mess about.
Yeah, so it was one of those where it was just like, this is definitely an impossible task, but thank you for letting us like play.
Yeah.
And then, like John said, we had enough to sort of present back to them to say, look, we've played, we've explored everything, and genuinely, like, this is probably the best one.
I guess it's like those weird things that like you latch onto because you've heard that ad or you've heard that like thing so many times that you're just like, that can't ever be changed. It's like, how do you guys normally approach a project? So like someone's come to you with the brief. How would you guys kind of start that process?
Well, we'll be sent the brief, which will often be like a bit of background on the product or the brand or the TV show or whatever it is we're working on. There'll be a storyboard probably attached, something that's just scratched out, so we just get a bit of an idea of it. There'll often be, the briefs are pretty concise usually. They're pretty kind of, they're rarely open. They're usually sort of, we want it in this genre, we want it with this kind of tempo or whatever, and then you sort of work around it. But there's always a lot of food for thought afterwards, so we'll kind of probably just read the brief, we'll have an initial meeting, we'll go away as a team, we'll have a chat about it, probably just rough out 3 or 4 ideas, just get a feel for it, see which ones work, see which ones don't, and then kind of move from there. That usually we'll get the track composed mostly before we start kind of adding sounds around that, but for most of that process we will be considering what sounds will go around it. Do you see what I mean? So right from the start we'll be considering everything, but we'll probably present the more awkward stuff to a client early. So that's usually the music that can split a room. It always does. Yeah. So that would be the early stage.
So so one of the amazing things about what you guys do is you work across so many different media almost. So you, like you said, you've done advertising, film. I think you've even done video game bits.
Yeah, I've done everything.
So I'm really intrigued kind of the process of working with the creative teams for those different things, and also kind of what makes it different for each medium.
I feel like advertising is sort of, you're making something artistic and creative, but it's serving a purpose beyond that. You know, it's got another motive to it, and so that people are a lot more. There are a lot more opinions about that come from the corporate side, you know, the brand and all that stuff, and like people can feed back, you know, dozens and dozens of times on a 30-second thing. But if you're to do something more narrative, something like a score that's going to go underneath some storytelling, or a short film, or a TV show, you'll have far less notes on something that might be 5-8 minutes long.
I think at the heart of everything that you guys do is that storytelling element, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's from ad to TV. But I think that I'm really intrigued to kind of see how you bring that to the different types of projects, whether that is ad or TV.
I mean, if we've got time to play, then we will, get all the old synths out, or we'll, get in and be making stuff, from the ground up. Basically, we'll, be making Foley for it, and whatever we can do, we'll be much more creative, and do what really sound engineers love to do and composers love to do, which is to be creative and to try and find something different that stands out. So if we get that opportunity, we will take it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any kind of like favorite projects that you've worked on? And when I say favorite, I don't mean just they were the even if it's down to like a quirky moment that you just went, oh, I'm really glad that stayed in, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I have just remembered one that did make it to air.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say it now because it's been and gone. But Stu, he was quite gassy for quite a few years, and so like we recorded him once, right? And we were doing an advert for vacuum cleaner things, right? And they've got this real close up of like a blade going like pulling up all of the agitating the fibres is what it was doing apparently according to the VO, and then getting all the dirt up. But it was a real nice close shot of this sort of turbine-y thing, and I got one of Stu's farts, slowed it right down, and it went like that, and it fit the picture so fucking perfectly that it was in, and there was no getting that off, and like client, everyone's happy. So yeah, that made the edit. But that is genuinely, that's just.
I mean, there's lots
trivial.
of silly little things like that you sometimes do just to, if you're having a rather dull day, can just bring a little smile to your face and just amuse yourself, really.
I guess sometimes, and this is like a general, really, it's not like specifically to a project, but if you approach something with a different hat on and it works and it's better for it, then you're winning, and that is a lovely way to sort of achieve something. So, and I guess by that I mean it's a boring one though, but you basically had to make the sound of salt being poured, but really, really really nice.
It was a
And
point. It was a point of
doesn't sound
contention.
nice.
It needed to be the most amazing salt pouring sound you've ever heard.
So it turns out Rice Krispies make a better sound than salt.
wow.
Yeah.
But sped up, thinned out, played about with. But so I guess but that as an analogy on any job, if you just approach it with something with a different hat on, and you've got that time to play, got that time to be wrong, so you know where your sort of dynamic boundaries are in the creative sense. Then you'll find better stuff.
For the people that don't know, if we can just have a quick, what is Foley?
I guess, so in a traditional sense, Foley would be that person that has all sorts of stuff hanging off them, and they'll be the ones opening doors, doing footsteps and stuff at the back of a theatre, behind the scenes, to sort of put the sound effects in real time. That's usually what a Foley artist does. But when we're making Foley for stuff, it will be when we're getting in a booth and actually recording us doing stuff. So if it's, for example, like a bottle top being opened, we'll go in there and open a bottle top. But if that bottle top doesn't sound good, then we've got to wear a different hat, and we've got to go,
Then you think outside the box, and you start to have to think about, okay, what would make the right sound, or what would make an even better sort of. Often you're looking for something that's more exaggerated than what you're actually seeing on screen, because often people like to think that, I envisage this sound and it's going to sound amazing, and you record the actual thing that you're seeing on screen and it's underwhelming. And so you need to think outside the box. Go, oh, okay, what else could we record, even if it's just a layer or whatever that makes it really pop and stand out. And then and as Chris is saying, that's the stuff that we love to have the time to do, and we don't always get, and when we don't have the time, we've got extensive sort of sound libraries that we draw from and stuff like that. But obviously, the best way, it's like the difference between someone in music using a software instrument or getting the guitar out on a mic and actually doing it for real, and that's sort of,
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
It's hyper real. You there. If you were to actually have a microphone on everything you're seeing, it would be quite underwhelming for the most part.
Yeah.
But you need to make it hyper real to make people go, oh wow,
Yeah.
And David Attenborough is a great example, because I watch that stuff and I love those shows, absolutely. But you watch that stuff and you just go, obviously it's all, it kind of doesn't twig for ages, but then you think about actually what it would take for them to record the sounds of what you're seeing. You're
nothing
like,
is real.
You're like,
it's
none of it. None of it can be real. It just can't.
I guess that's that weird thing of like what you guys do. It's almost like if you notice it, actually it's not working, because the audience expectation is that it's like a thing. Even though you've never heard that thing in your life, you expect it to sound a certain way.
That's a very good point, because in an advertising sense, that couldn't ring louder and truer.
We actually say that all the time when we have these conversations with people. It's like if you've noticed the sound, then it's standing out. Well, I mean, if it stands out because it's really fantastic, then great. But for the most part, if you're trying to just recreate a believable sound for what you're seeing on screen, then if it catches your attention, then something's gone wrong. Because you want it to be so believable that it doesn't even sort of cross your mind. It just sounds the way your brain expects it to.
Yeah.
And so we say that all the time about things. If you've done a good job, no one will appreciate it, basically.
I guess in a weird way, it also carries over to score for film and television as well, because there's that thing of, and maybe I've misheard this, but almost a great score, you don't notice it all the time. It's that it's got to, you're so in the moment because the score is so perfect.
It's just glued with the pictures.
Yeah, and then, but as soon as you kind of notice it, that's what kind of shoves you out of it almost in a weird way. So it must be a strange thing to kind of have to compose something that is perfect to fit, but also that you're almost wanting
disguising
to keep...
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't know. We've kind of gone full circle in this conversation, because scoring, it definitely, with what you were saying, John, as well, when sound is perfect, it almost goes unnoticeable, which is fine. Like we've always kind of said, like, certainly in like a documentary set and anything like that, if you can get the sound perfectly real, it won't stand out. Stuff stands out if it's not, it's an illusion, isn't it? Until like you spot the flipping, hey, that was out of time, or that's out of sync, and when things are wrong, people will notice it. So it is that kind of illusion of, because most stuff is layered on and it wasn't there in the first place. So we are trying to create an illusion. So if you get it wrong, you failed, my friend. But we've gone full circle, because what we're saying now is everything has to be natural and perfect. But actually, go back to advertising, it's the polar opposite. It has to be characterful. It has to scream what we're trying to say and nothing else. It has to be, there can't be any kind of like discussion as to what that sound is. It's that sound. And if it's not that sound, it's the same with like a comedy sketch or something like that. If they play a creaky door, they can't play a door slamming, can they? It's a creaky door because someone creepy's coming in the room. Yeah. Or like the Scooby-Doo thunder, things like that, to sort of say a spooky scene. It can't be anything else but that, right? It's got to, So which is the opposite, because that really does draw attention.
So you guys also do kind of not yourselves, but voiceover part of it as well. You do all that kind of element. How interesting, like how is it working with voiceover artists and kind of the directing side of it? Would you work on that side of things as well?
Yeah. I mean, there's no one in the room more than a sound engineer and the talent, obviously. So the producer will come in and the clients will come in and they'll be in for an hour, but we'll have a whole day of people coming in and out and doing that. So we're probably, we are more experienced than a voice director is. And so quite often, anyone that kind of understands us and knows us well enough and trusts us well enough will sort of pass that over to us, and because we know what we need to get.
It's great to touch on because I mean, frankly, a lot of our day-to-day stuff, certainly on my side, being in the studio day to day, is recording voiceovers. It's a lot of our sort of bread and butter work, and part of the reason we are in Soho, because you can always get actors to come down and they know exactly where it is, and it's part of the reasons we love being in Soho, is because it's really, people know where it is, love to come in. There's Theatreland just around the corner. It's very easy to get people to drop in and do a voiceover and stuff, and it's a huge part of what people lean on us for is that voice recording. And
the direction. I mean, but there's no one closer really than the talent and the engineers. Like we're on the same team. Just do whatever you can to just make that a little bit more comfortable for them. So there's loads going on.
Yeah, you've got a lot of moving parts that you guys have got to link together and make sure that it kind of all.
Yeah.
But I guess that kind of goes back to what we said at the start of how it's great to have that all in house, because you've got control over every element.
Yeah. And it's got a lot in common with, recording vocals for music. It's like, how someone feels when they step into that booth and they have to lay down a performance is so key to what the product that you get out of it at the end is how someone feels. Are they at ease? It's amazing how much of that stuff comes across in what you get out of it at the end.
You kind of touched on it already, but how great it is to kind of be in the heart of Soho. What is it about kind of being based at Dean Street that kind of is so great?
Stu and I, who isn't here, worked at another couple of studios together. One company, but we were at 3 different places before coming here. They're all, in the post-production world and film and TV, they're all quite like sort of dentist surgery, like they're very clean, very sort of like, we open at 9 and we shut at 6, and it's sort of just quite formal. Not kind of, when I was at sound engineering college, not the sort of studio I imagined I'd be working in. It's just very different, very nice, very, very nice, but not really, it wasn't very us. And Stu used to be in a band that Jazz, who has the lease obviously at Dean Street, Jazz was Stu's band manager, and we got talking. There's a few things going on, and Stu was like, well, Jazz has got this place, Dean Street, it's just down the road. We were on Soho Square at the time, so only around the corner, and we were like, okay, we'll have lunch, we'll go down and have a little look. We came into this room actually, so this was our room that we moved into at Studio 5.
Oh, cool.
We came in here, I think it was October 2010, and then we fully moved in November. So, but yeah, it was Stu's connection. But we walked around and it was just vibey. That was the thing. It was just, there was just more stuff. It was busy. There was just, every studio was busy. The reception was busy. There was just stuff happening everywhere. I was like, this is way more like it. This is like vibes. We've got our legacy clients that came with us. They were part of the journey with us as well. And they love this place. And we love this place, don't we? I mean, it's just... Yeah,
of course.
It's super cool. It's very different to the post-production world, I
think it's almost a bit of a USP, really, for us that as soon as people walk down here and they know the history of the building, who's been in here over the years, and they get a feel for the place, they fall in love just like Chris did, just like I have, just like everyone who comes down here, and it's... I think in answer to go back to your initial question, what makes it so special is just the people that have always been down here. The people that have had the sort of sublets on all these rooms over the years have just been. They're all friends for life. They're all people that we get on incredibly well with, still talk to even if they're not here. The atmosphere when you come down here and you have lunch together, or you go for a pint afterwards, and you share ideas, and you share stories, and all that stuff. It's a community which really makes it fantastic. I think you can do what we do anywhere, really, if you've got the right equipment and you've got a bit of soundproofing and stuff. But
it's not as good.
It's the people. It's the people.
It is the people, but it's not. I mean, I have to say, like, certainly from a post-production world of being in other studios and working in other studios, where there's lots of very, very talented people around, and people you can utilise for their talents to help you with your projects and things like that. This place is like next level. Like, if you want something mastering, you're going to ask people that have mastered for, all the top artists in the world, or if we need like a string arrangement, then we go to Phil, obviously, Phil and PC, and if we need certain bits and bobs, or just like just chats, or like we'll all be socializing afterwards, and we'll talk about projects we're doing, and it's just amazing what little bits of detail you get from just sort of hanging out with the right people. We're all really close. We're like family,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and most residents have been here a long time, and the ones that aren't here now, they're still dipping in and out. They're still using the studios. They're just not using it full time, kind of thing. So
yeah. So for anyone that is kind of new or trying to get into the industry, do you guys have any advice for those kinds of people? I mean, also just kind of the letting them know that this avenue is here, that there's that other side to sound production.
I mean, I guess you've just said it. There is another side to it. When I first set out in, after I left sound engineering college, I genuinely didn't know this industry. I knew films were made. I just don't know what I was thinking, really, because obviously you need stuff. But yeah, I had no idea that this sort of infrastructure behind the TV, film, radio, now social, just everything, has a need for music production. It has a need for sound production. It has a need for like creativity. It really does. I mean, it really does, to the point where, if you want a career like me in sound engineering, then you've got not an infinite place to look, but you can look in so many different angles now in media that you will find something that you like, for sure. So yeah, I would say keep facing that direction, keep facing the right direction, and just sort of keep chipping away, but look way beyond the obvious. It could be a podcasting company. It could be, you could be working for comedians. You could be working in a social situation. You could be working for a radio. There's so many. TV production. Radios need production companies, so there's production companies for them. There's podcast production companies. It just the list goes on and on and on. But you've just got to get there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys. It's been amazing talking to you. I've really appreciated you taking the time out, and hopefully we can get you back on soon.
Wicked.
Cool. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it. For more conversations with artists, producers, and the amazing people here at Dean Street, don't forget to follow and subscribe. And if you want to know anything else about the incredible things that the team do here, don't forget to check out the Dean Street website. Hope to see you on the next one.